Hey guys, AirSofttalk on Delta 1, and today I'm starting a new series of what gun is right for you for this certain class and blah blah blah. But today I'm going to be telling you a good support weapon. There will be 2 to 3 videos per class of setup. One will be upgrades and finding out which one's right for you. So let's get this started. If you're a beginner, my opinion would be a beginner first support weapon, I'm going to tell you to go buy a saw, because they are very upgradable. You can get rail systems. The gearboxes are great. Even the A and K ones last, even though their shimming is really shitty. So the saw is going to be great. The reason I like the saws so much is because of the gearbox design. This is massive. It's great. It's got the 8mm bearings in it. The only problem I don't like about the saw gearbox is it uses a special type, so you have to buy saw 8mm bearings, or else you're pretty much out of luck, because they're a lot thicker than the normal bearings. But anyways, just to show you a quick comparison of how big this gearbox is, here is a version 3. It's massive. Moving on. Now, the saw is great. They're built to run long periods of time. They're built to run holding the trigger down for ages on end. So it's specifically because of how the gears are aligned. They're all straight, pretty much, and it's pretty much straightforward. I re-shimmed mine, so mine's in perfect shimming. So mine sounds pretty nice. Out of an experiment, I took a shotgun from Walmart, took a spring out of it, and wanted to test to see if it would work in my saw out of, shits and kicks. Listen to this. That's why I like the saw. Now, another neat feature is on the saws for the beginners. This is stupid proof. If you can somehow manage to screw up your saw, you're retarded. First, there's a little thing on top to do a spring change. Pull this back, make sure your finger's over the back spring guide cover. Spring guide comes out. Spring. Say I want to throw in a new spring. I simply just get a new spring, throw it in there, and just push until you hear a click, and I have a new spring in here. So, but to keep it lasting longer, I always take the spring and the spring guide out, and then remove the spring, so I don't damage my piston or anything like that. I just put it back together. But moving on, the saw is great. It's even good for anyone who is an experienced support gunner because of how pretty much what it's designed to do support. It's also extremely accurate. If you get the para one, it's not going to be as accurate. I don't really know why you'd want a para. And if you're going to complain because of the weight, go away. You're not supposed to be a support gunner, because support gunners are supposed to be big, beefy people. I'm 6'2", 250 pounds of raw, raging 18-year-oldness. I don't really know a good metaphorical term to say I'm built as a support gunner. Not really 250 pounds, but I am pretty much, I'm a big guy. So the saw is great because you can get rail systems. It's completely upgradable. The only con to the saw gearbox is the bearings are special, and that the trigger system is this little switch right here. These burn out all the time, so you have to have a lot of them kind of laying around if you're going to be using it heavy use. I know I've got a spare one sitting around over here or something. I don't know where it went, but I know I've got a spare sitting around here somewhere. Now, if you're looking for something more unique than an M60, well, actually, I'm going to talk about the M60 real quick. The M60 is heavy. It is extremely heavy. So unless you were seriously going to be in an entrenched position and you're right-handed, you're good. But if you're right-handed and you're trying to move around with the M60, it's very awkward. That's why I'm going to tell everyone, go buy a saw, because they're so good. But don't get me wrong, the M60 is really awesome. If you're left-handed, it's good for you. If you're right-handed, it's going to be a little awkward. Wouldn't let it discourage you from buying it, but it's a big gun. You get the point. Now, the M60 is great. The only thing I don't like about it is the E4. You have to do this weird tube and untwist it to adjust the motor, and then take the whole rear end stock off, shove it in there, and retry it again. If the motor's not adjusted perfectly, then you got to take it back off, or to do this, and then put it back on, and then do that again, and again, until 30 minutes later you got it. Which is overall pain. I don't know why. They have perfectly enough room to fit the full size in there. I don't know why they didn't do that. But on the E1, you don't have that problem. You just take a screwdriver and tighten the motor mount. Now, if you're going for range, the M60 E4 will do it. The VN will just destroy everything because it's got like a 600mm barrel. I don't know why. Personally, I would just buy a saw and put a silencer on it, put a 650mm type bore, which is what I'm doing. Here's an example of how big this barrel is. Moving on. The M60s are great. They're a little more expensive on the pricey side, but they're good, and they have a 4,000 round magazine. Yeah, 4,000 rounds is a lot. And it's also nice because you unvelcro the mag, and you lift this tray open, and you just pour BBs in. So you don't have to really reload like the saw. Saw has a little latch you open up, and you just be like... Or you could use M4 magazines on the saw, but if you do, I'm going to slap you because there's no point. Even if you're reloading, you're still retarded for using that. Moving on. Now, if you want something more unique, the RPK and the MG36 are going to be your only really other options. If you're going to do that with a any version 2 gearbox as a support weapon, is not going to last as long as a version 3. Version 3s, which I have right here, are more reliable, and it's one of the reasons why, I believe, is that it's physically bolted to the gearbox right there, the motor, and it's a little more beefier than your standard version 2. There's not holes cut out in the back like there are on some gearboxes, like on the version 2, like back in here. So this is going to be a lot more durable. So, and basically when you buy something that isn't like this, to make it a support weapon, you're going to have to do a lot more upgrading. So RPKs and MG36s I'm going to recommend for people who know what they're doing. Now, you may be asking, well, I don't know any MG36s that are stock out of the market that come with a drum magazine. TSD/SRC just released one for $250. If you want to Gen 3 it, it's another $125. So for $375, you get a Gen 3 that rivals a KWA gearbox with an M120 spring, double drum, and the standard magazine. But that's your best option for an MG36 due to the fact it comes with the double drum. So if that's basically what you're looking for, get an MG36. But there's also the RPKs. Now the RPKs that are coming to the market, Echo 1's RPK does not freaking count because it does not come with a drum magazine. That, I don't understand why they call it a support weapon when it just comes with 2 800-round magazines. It's completely pointless. A support gunner does not need to wind his magazine. A support gunner needs to sit there and shoot 1,000,000 BBs a day, supporting his entire squad. Now, CYMA is coming out with one, not much information on it, but going on to the ones that are out and are available at the moment. There's the Classic Army one and the TSD RPK. Now, the TSD RPK, don't get me wrong, it is not bad, but there are some minor issues with it. I've heard rumors that the stock will break off every once in a while. That's pretty much it for that. SRC makes good high-torque motors. I actually have one sitting somewhere around here, but I don't know where it went. So, they make good high-torque motors, and Classic Army, you're going to have to upgrade all the internals. You know Classic Army, the way it is, blah, blah, blah. But those are your only other options. You're going to have to upgrade both of them regardless. I'm going to go into more detail in part 2 on what you should do for upgrades for a support weapon and how you should make it. So this has been Airsoft Talk, part 1 of the support weapon series. And thanks for watching, damn trolls. Stop commenting if you're going to be a fucking troll. Fuck you all to hell, damn trolls.